Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LGBTQ Virtual College Fair, sponsored by the New Jersey Association for College Admission Counseling and powered by StriveScan. Each school in attendance today has taken an active step in building their LGBTQ+ community. By participating in this fair, they have acknowledged wanting LGBTQ+ students in their greater communities. Additionally, we have utilized the Campus Pride Index to showcase an objective rating as to where the policies of each institution fall in terms of LGBTQ+ friendliness. The school participating today has a Campus Pride Index score. You can find the score listed next to their name at strivescan.com/LGBTQ. The Pride Index is always a good place to start with your search, but it should not be the only place you look. Also, just a few housekeeping items before we do get started. There's a Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen, which you can use to ask questions during our presentation at any time. Your camera and microphone are turned off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. And this is also just one of many sessions happening over the next 3 hours. So definitely be able to sign up for additional ones. This presentation is also being recorded and will be available at the same site where you registered within about a week. Now, without further ado, I'll turn it over to our first school, which is Pace University.
Hi everyone, my name is Bridget. I work at Pace University as an undergraduate admissions counselor, and today I'm going to be talking to you about our LGBTQA+ Center that we have on Pace University's 2 New York campuses. So I recruit Northern New Jersey and joined by my colleague that works in Central and Southern New Jersey, so we're both going to be tag teaming this presentation. So just to talk about the LGBTQA+ Center, it stands for Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, Questioning, Asexual, and Ally Center. It falls under the Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Office, which also houses our Office of Multicultural Affairs, as well as a handful of other offices. And it really exists to ensure that all Pace University students feel welcomed on campus and are getting active allyship on campus if you're already not in the LGBTQA population. Our values are education, advocacy, community, inclusivity, and diversity. So what that means is that we go out into the community and we want to be sure that everyone is aware and is supported in our community. We do have a physical space on campus as well as a staff member that does staff this, and you can be hired through the Office of Student Assistance Office to get involved with the LGBTQA Center. So it is a little bit different from your high school experience. You do have a physical space on campus as well as it's in the foundation at Pace University. So we do have a handful of programs through the center. They are generally offered to all students in the Pace University community, but there are some that are only offered to different populations on campus. So for example, Tea Time is for trans and gender nonconforming students to talk about their experience on campus and what they're going through at that time. We do also have something that's not listed here, which is called QT Talk, which is queer and trans people of color so that they can work on education advocacy in the Pace community. Some examples of larger events that are for the whole Pace community is Queer Movie Mondays, as well as Drag Queen Bingo. So life on campus, we do have an opt-in system that you can work with the Housing and LGBTQA Center to do a all gender or no gender housing. And we do have healthcare services. They do look different between the 2 campuses. So what that means for you if you're looking at our Pleasantville campus is that you can get some services that are offered on campus. For New York City, we do have partnership organizations so that you can get out into the community. For all medical surgeries, you do have to go off campus for that. And we do have partnerships through the LGBTQA Center to work with you. A lot of students actually choose to go into Pace's health insurance because it does cover a lot of transitioning and hormone related care. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely work with the LGBTQA Center to get involved with that. And for the chosen name process, it's important to note that you do not need to legally change your name to have your chosen name listed on your Pace University ID card, which is free once you do indicate that you would like to change your name. But for some legal reasons, we do have to have your birth name on things like the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. So that's just something that is important to note there. We do also work with students that are interested in, may not be getting support from home that are facing food insecurities. So we do work with our provisions office. The important thing to note here is that the LGBTQI Center does work with students in different ways and as they do need assistance. Now I'm going to pass it off to Morgan.
Hi everyone, I'm the other admission counselor for Pace for New Jersey. So to kind of quickly go through some of the academic sides of things in this area, we do have a major and a minor related to the LGBTQ plus community that you might be interested in. For the minor in queer studies, you don't have to be doing a major related to that to take that. So you can be doing any major at PACE. And then a lot of these classes are also offered regardless of your major. So we have something called areas of knowledge that make up our liberal arts education, and you can take any of the classes provided by these departments regardless of major. We don't have data on the percentage of LGBTQ faculty that we have on campus, but there was a campus climate survey that was recently done in the fall. We're expecting to get some information about that back soon, and that did include questions about identity. And then there is also a campus affinity group for queer staff and faculty. So they are also there and supported, and they're able to also offer that to our students as well. So I'm not going to read to you our non-discrimination policy, but I do want to just emphasize that it does include gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, and a range of other protected identity categories. Any violations of this will go through the Title IX Compliance Office, but the LGBTQ+ Center are there as a support if you are not sure, if you're feeling a little nervous about going through this process. They're there to help you, to advocate with you and be with you throughout this process. So just wanted you to know that you are strongly taken care of on our campus. And then just finally, we wanted to give you a whole lot of different ways that you can connect with PACE. So obviously the information that we gave you today was very specific to the information that you would want to know and that you might not necessarily get in a typical tour, information session, things like that. If you did want to have more in-depth information about PACE, you can go to our website, so pace.edu/stay-connected. We do have daily information sessions, we have virtual visits, we have webinars, lots of different options. And then our Associate Director of the LGBTQ A+ Center, Emmett Griffith, did want us to give you his information, so you can see his emails on the screen. If you did want specific questions about ways that they could support you, or just wanted to get to know them before you start the application process, then you can do that as well. And we'll post some links in the chat too that are helpful. But thanks so much for coming, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all that informative information. Up next, we have Columbia College, Chicago.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Perfect. We are Columbia College, Chicago. We are a 4-year private liberal arts college, fully accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. Just basically means that the students will be fully, receiving their bachelor's degree by the time they graduate. Focuses in the arts, so media, communication, visual and performing arts. We do believe in a hands-on learning experience here, as well as providing networking career preparation, of course, a rigorous curriculum and collaboration. So just quickly by the numbers, we are an institution that we're probably a mid-sized institution, just shy of 7,000 students, both undergraduate and graduate. We are also an institution that goes ahead and fully enrolls about 1,700 students currently at the undergraduate level. You'll see that about 42% of our student body does self-identify as students of color. About 33% self-identify as LGBTQ+ students. Financial aid, something that we do believe here in Columbia, full tuition and room and board, somewhere around about $45,000 for the academic year. We do believe in a comprehensive and very generous somewhere around $25,000, $26,000 for the average freshman, with components and scholarship opportunities in both merit and academic by completing the application, a need-based component by filling out the FAFSA, and then a portfolio or talent-based by submitting a portfolio. Again, we do have over 60 majors and programs here, comprised of somewhere in the arts, traditional things like music, dance, theater, fine art, but we do have programs that are geared toward business, communication, and other areas as well. And then applying to the college is pretty simple. We do start accepting applications in August, both our application and the Common App. We want to see your transcripts and a writing sample as a part of required materials, but you can definitely find out more information on the AD/apply. I am the Assistant Director of Diversity Initiatives within admissions. My colleague, Jasenia, who is the rep from New Jersey, she is also available as someone that you all can reach out to. But I want to go ahead and share some information when it comes to student diversity and inclusion here at Columbia. So we are an institution that does have a SDI office that is really responsible for making sure that there is education program is geared toward DEI initiatives, as well as social justice and reformative work here on campus. Some of the gender inclusive or more of our LGBTQ resources do include our trans-informed gender equity initiative that we do have on campus, as well as our first name change. So like Pace University, we do require that more governmental documentation does have your legal birth name on those if you have not gone through the name change process. But do know here at Columbia, we do honor and respect your first name as you so choose, and we do make it available on all of our information for you to go ahead and specify that. We do have gender, we have pronoun initiatives here on campus. We do a lot of different, workshops and information sessions to make sure that we're teaching the rest of the campus as well. We do have a diversity scholarship here on campus. So if you are interested in that, that is a resource that we do have. Do know that we do have student organizations that are geared toward different identities on campus. One specifically for the LGBTQ plus community would be Columbia Pride. This is our exclusive LGBTQ plus organization on campus, but we do have others. We have a trans organization. We have a genderqueer organization as well. On campus. If you all have any questions at all, again, that do, are geared toward SDI work or more so the LGBTQ plus community, we do recommend that you reach out to our individuals within this office, either Matthew Riley, who is really great, as well as Sheree Mosby Holloway here in the program. And then we do have here at Columbia a women's gender and sexuality studies minor that I highly recommend for our students. All minors here at Columbia are about 18 credits. Within the women's gender and sexuality minor, you'll definitely have to be studying, courses within women's education, as well as thinking about LGBTQ literature, culture, race, and media, and other courses that it pertains to those specific areas pertaining to the media. Again, if you want questions, or just send me a chance, Sanchez, who is the representative for New Jersey. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for that very informative presentation. Up next, we have St. Thomas Aquinas College. It looks like they were unable to join us today, so we will move on to our program, and next will be Albright College.
Hi, everyone. This is Sean Brzezinski from Mulberry College. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission here, and I'm also one of the assistant women's basketball coaches as well, and I'm an alum. I graduated in 2014. So I'm going to share my screen, but actually, yeah, okay, here we go. So on our campus, we right now just received a grant that is going to be helping us create an actual center on campus, but we do have a Pride Plus organization. One of our ambassadors actually is the president, and they run amazing events on campus, whether it just be like a Pride Plus event or a speaker. We have a great collaboration with the LGBT Center of Greater Reading, which is where we're located. I'm actually on the board there, and I just wanted to show you with our partnership that we have, the services that they offer are unbelievable. They have multiple groups that fixate towards different age ranges. And we also currently, what just popped up is the Rainbow Relief Fund. Like if you were having any issues, whether it be for, your life in general outside of college and or on the campus as well, they will help provide you for those things. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we have a great relationship with them, the services. They also have a counseling service as well. Like we have counseling on our campus, but through the center, it's more fixated on the LGBT community. I also wanted to, I'm gonna share my screen again, but a different section. Show all windows. I created, let me stop actually, pause share for a second. I want to show you guys also, we have a good relationship with the Safe Berks in our community. They actually are a nonprofit that offers services for any victims of domestic and or sexual assault and survivors. And they provide housing and then also the services that you may need as well. We have another partnership with them in the circumstance that on campus, if anything were to happen and you needed any legal representation, we also have that through them. Nothing costs money. We want to be as supportive as possible on our campus continuously. So I want to try and share my screen, but I don't know why it's not populating for you. 1 second. Here we go. This is just the Safe Berks information for everyone. If you want to take a quick picture. And then also, this is the LGBT Center information. I can also, in the chat, I'll put my name, my email, and my office number if anyone feels they want to reach out to me or have any other questions. But like I said, we have a Pride Plus organization. Our campus is very diverse, and we advocate for our students. I was in a position before this one, project coordinator, where we fixated on, the importance of being an advocate for the students on campus. So I will put my information in the chat, and that's all I got.
Thank you so much for your presentation. As a reminder to our participants, if you do have questions for any of the colleges you are seeing today, definitely don't hesitate to drop those into the Q&A down below. Up next, we have Reed College.
Forgot to unmute myself almost there. Hi, everyone. My name is Deb DeVrat. I'm an assistant dean of admissions here at Reed College in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We are specifically in Portland, Oregon. Also a proud member of the LGBTQ mafia, or the alphabet mafia, as TikTok likes to call it. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Reed College. So we're a small private liberal arts college located here in the Pacific Northwest. We have about 1,400 students on campus, hailing from all 50 US states and 44 different international countries as well. And this is an institution that is really built on this idea of community. And you kind of see that sort of unravel itself in a variety of ways, whether it's through our conference classroom experiences, where most of our classes are taught through a conference format as opposed to a lecture format, where the professor's not there just to lecture at you and talk to you for 2 to 3 hours at a time, but they're really there to help guide the conversation and really help students really get a front row seat in their learning. The kind of students that come to Reed are the kind of students that love to learn. They love to challenge ideas and ask the tough questions. So that being said, this idea of a welcoming community is is something that's so deeply embedded in Reed, all the way to its original foundation. The very first graduating class at Reed was, I think, back in 1916, and we had 12 male identifying folks graduating and 12 female identifying folks graduating. So that's that sort of commitment to, especially in that case, in gender equity, as far back as the early 1900s, has been something that's really been deeply embedded in Reed. We have a giant LGBTQ community on campus, actually our largest community on campus, and everything from having space on campus with a queer and gender minority and women's resource center to work through the Multicultural Resource Center. The college has some really strong partnerships with both oh my gosh, I'm already forgetting about the name, Basic Rights Oregon and the Q Center, which are two organizations here in Portland that work to promote gender equity and to promote safe services and safe spaces for LGBTQ plus members. Reed also meets 100% demonstrated financial need for every single admitted student. So if if the cost of education is something that is a big burden for you, we hope at Reed to be able to sort of remove that one hurdle for you in order to make college more accessible for you. And then the last couple of things I'll touch on is, this idea of communities at Reed is something that is one thing that we really talk a lot about. And I think that's something that you'll hear a lot about when you're researching colleges. Something that we are really committed to is making sure that we have support services in place for students. Because if we don't, we're doing you a disservice as an institution, right? And so we have everything from mental health support services for students of intersecting identities to specific groups and individual one-on-one tutoring that is offered through both the institution and then a variety of organizations that help support students in that regard as well. And something even as our student groups on campus. Reed has a policy on campus, not a single student group can exist on campus that discriminates any student for any reason, whether that's any kind of identity or experience level. So that's a real, highlight of the Reed culture here. Last thing I'll share with you, we have a nuclear reactor on campus. That's a really interesting fact for a lot of really STEM-focused students. Any student can be certified to become a nuclear reactor operator. Last year, our 2 senior operators were history majors, but that'd be it's a really cool resume booster. It's a year-long training program to get involved in that. That being said, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat box. If you're ever looking to chat and want to know more about Reed or just navigating college in general, please don't hesitate to reach out. Whatever I can do to help remove those hurdles for you, I will definitely do my best. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for that presentation. Up next is our final college for this session, and they are Montclair State University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ebony Jackson from Montclair State University. I am the Assistant Director of our Office for Social Justice and Diversity, in which, our LGBTQ Center is housed. It is housed here along with 3 other identity centers, our Multicultural Center, our Women's Center, and our Center for Faith and Spirituality. I'm here to talk a little bit about LGBTQ services and resources we have here at the university. Just a little bit more about me. I am a double alum of Montclair State University. I received my bachelor's in 2014 and my master's in 2016, and now I work here, so apparently I cannot get enough. We are located in northern New Jersey, about 20 minutes outside of Newark, New Jersey. We're 14 miles from New York City, with 2 train station stops on our campus. We are very accessible via public transportation. So just a little bit about our LGBTQ Center. Our mission statement is through leadership, development, education, advocacy, and support services. The Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, or LGBTQ Center at Montclair State University strives to create a campus environment inclusive and supportive of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. Our 4 goals are supporting the welfare, developmental process, academic success, and retention of LGBTQ+ students, provide resources, programs, and experiences that support and expand student leadership development, increase community awareness and allyship of LGBTQ people and issues, and consult with campus partners on LGBTQ inclusive programs, procedures, services, and policies. So some of our services, we have a physical LGBTQ center space. Our office is more of a suite style. So we have the main office as a suite, and then each of our identity centers have their own physical spaces. We do have a library that students can borrow books or films from, covering a gamut of social justice, diversity, inclusion, and equity topics. We do provide guidance and support. Myself, specifically, there are LGBTQ students who will come to me if they're having issues in class, in the residence halls, or just in general if they're looking for some resources. We provide a lot of education with our workshops and trainings. Between the 4 centers, our office, and specifically with the LGBTQ Center, one of our most popular workshops or trainings is our safe space training. Other schools may call it brave space, safe zone, brave zone training. But it is a very, very in-depth education experience, if you will, to learn about the LGBTQ community, learn about your own gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation, and also helping people to move people towards becoming allies. We also have some entry or beginner level workshops as well. We provide lots of resources to our community, and our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and our location is in the Student Center, the LGBTQ Center specifically 113B, but the entire suite is 113. We have opportunities for students to get involved as OSJD ambassadors with our office. We recruit peer facilitators who facilitate our discussion groups, which we have a lot of. And with our discussion groups that are identity-based, we require our peer facilitators to identify within that group. So we have Transcending Boundaries, which is our trans, gender non-conforming, non-binary, etc. discussion group, and our peer facilitator identifies within that umbrella. We also have peer educators who lead and facilitate. They also create our workshops and trainings. And then we have event coordinators who support and sometimes create our programs and initiatives. Oh, and that's some of our students at the Red Hawk statue at the entrance of the campus. We also have Stonewall Suites, LGBTQA+ living community. The LGBTQ Center works in tandem with Residence Life to oversee this community. We also have gender inclusive housing, which is a lot less involved, and just sort of gives students an opportunity to have more inclusive or gender blind, if you will, housing. So Stonewall Suites was established in 2010, and it just provides our LGBTQ students and allies a comfortable living and learning space where residents are placed without consideration of gender identity, expression, or sexual orientation. And it's a great funnel to connect our students that are interested in social justice issues, more specifically LGBTQ issues, and into gender, sexuality, women's studies, and LGBTQ studies. And it's located in Zanalo Hall in the Heights, which is one of our newest residence halls. We have a preferred name policy here at Montclair State, which went into it became official, I want to say October 2020, I believe. But it's essentially our university's policy that allows students and employees to utilize the name that they use on any university official records within record management systems. So things like identification cards and class rosters, things like in the residence halls and such, your email, what we call a net ID and whatnot. And I also wanted to reference our Trans at MSU page, which is a collection of resource pages for transgender, nonconforming, and gender questioning students, faculty, and staff at Montclair State University, where folks can find information about participating in athletics, intramural, and club sports. There are faculty resources for faculty who are looking to create more inclusive, welcoming, and affirming classrooms and spaces for their trans students, locations of gender inclusive restrooms, information about our trans inclusive healthcare insurance plan, information about housing, names, and then just general programs and training. There is the Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer Studies minor that is housed in the Gender, Sexuality, Women's Studies department. It's an 18-credit minor, and students will study academic and activist scholarship that describes, analyzes, interprets, and critiques a diversity of gendered and sexual identities, communities, institutions, and representations. And they'll also analyze materials and events from pop culture and socio-political environments. So I want to say that's about it for me. I can't stop. Okay. And I'll put our contact information here in the chat. You can visit montclair.edu/LGBTQ to learn more about our LGBTQ Center. Our email addresses are pretty simple, lgbtq@montclair.edu or diversity@montclair.edu. I get all of those emails, so you're emailing me anyway, regardless of how you contact, but that is all I have for you from Montclair State University. Thanks for having us.
Thank you to all the colleges who were able to come out today to give us a little bit more information about their schools. We do have some time left, so I'm going to have our panelists answer a question for you guys to give you a little bit more idea of how they can cater to the LGBTQ plus community. So the question we'll be answering is, what unique campus event or program is specific to the LGBTQ plus community at your specific institution? And we will start with Pace University.
Yeah, so I think two programs that I think of, and they're kind of related to each other, is through the center, we do have a program. It's like a leadership program where you can be what's called a queer leader. And there is an application process, interviews, things like that. But part of that program is that they every year do a retreat. So that actually happened pretty recently. I saw them posting about it in the last couple of weeks. This year was virtual, but typically they do go up to the Fresh Air Fund, which is a camp up in the Hudson Valley. They go to Camp Tommy, which is named after Tommy Hilfiger. But it's a great way to not only connect with other students who are part of the LGBTQ community, but also are looking to be leaders on campus too. So it's just a really great way to bond and get involved with the center.
Bridget, did you want to add something as well?
My favorite was going to be Q Camp, and I know that a lot of students in the community that are not in the LGBTQ community also like the drag queen bingo that we host, where we have people from RuPaul's Drag Race host bingo on campus. So,
all right, what about Columbia College of Chicago?
For sure. So we actually have a lot of programming coming out of our Student Diversity and Inclusion Office. One particular event that really stands out would have to be Gender Fusion. This is an opportunity for our LGBTQ plus students, faculty, and staff to really display a lot of their artwork to the community, both at Columbia and the Chicagoland community as well. It's just a really, really fun event, a lot of spoken word, a lot of live performances, a lot of, gallery during that time as well. It's a really, really great way to just display the incredible talent that our students, and more specifically our LGBTQ plus students are, getting involved in here on campus.
Albright College.
Hi, so we have various events on campus, but our big one that we're having, especially this year, they did do it last year, but it's more amplified, is a drag show. It's gonna be amazing because we're incorporating faculty and staff to be judges on it. And actually the faculty and staff that are the judges are going to be dressed in drag as well, just to make it kind of fun. We want people to feel as included and supported, and we want everyone to just be themselves all the time. So that's gonna be a very big event. But the other events and/or program that fixate towards the LGBTQ plus community also resonates within our community center that I'm on the board of. They hold a bunch of events, whether it be like a fall fest, a drag show, speakers coming, like the list kind of goes on. And last year they had a massive gala and raised so much money for the community, and also to help any students and/or people in the community that are in need. So those would probably be the two biggest ones. But like I said, it's just the big motivation to be like an advocate, but also be a support.
Reed College.
Yeah, so Reed does a mix of both just like fun events to bring community together, as well as a combination of events that are through a supportive lens as well. So everything from like pride events to drag events are going to be on campus. You'll see that a lot of college campuses. But then we'll have things like support services through the Center for Life Beyond Read, where we help you navigate, how to be trans in the workplace and navigate difficult conversations, or interview wardrobes for members of the LGBTQ community, and how to navigate what that might look like for you. And then we'll bring guest speakers onto campus to talk about like trans advocacy, or how to foster a justice equity lens while you are in the workforce. So all kinds of events that are happening throughout the year that sort of really go to support students from a variety of perspectives and angles.
In Montclair State University.
Yes, so because I'm super indecisive, I can choose 3. We do a lot of programs and events, like we have coming out panels. We have a trans panel during Coming Out Week or Trans Visibility Week. But 3 that really stick out to me, one is our Coming Out Monologues performance event, sort of like the Vagina Monologues, where people perform monologues about either their coming out experience or other people's coming out experience. And we co-sponsor with the musical theater organization Players every year with that program. We also have the Drag Extravaganza, which is a drag competition with our students. And we also had Pride Prom, which is sort of a do-over prom for our LGBTQ students who weren't able to authentically show up to prom or have the prom date that they may have wanted, or prom dates that they may have wanted. But those are 3 really unique programs that I think the LGBTQ Center has put together.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. When we close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we would appreciate any feedback you can give us. This is also just one of many sessions happening